One of the most common questions asked around wipe time in Escape from Tarkov is what is the best guns to be using on day one of the wipe. And while that largely depends on what style of guns you feel most comfortable with, we're going to go through each type of weapon in Tarkov and give my best recommendations for what you should be using early on. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Before we hop into the video, however, I do want to thank the sponsor for this video, and that is OperaGX. Now, I am somebody that is on the internet all of the time, and I never really gave a second thought to the browser that I was using, and OperaGX has really blown me away and continue to add incredible features to their browser. So let's talk about it. One of the newer and most powerful features that they've added to the browser is GX profiles. You can head to settings, click manage GX profiles, and basically you can create your own custom versions of the browser that suit your needs. So for instance, I have a few here silent. This one means that all of the tabs get muted by default, and it disables the GX browser sounds and music or anything like that. So if I'm doing something else, or if I just need everything to be quiet, I can just open that. I've color coded that as blue down in the bottom on my taskbar. I would just click the blue one right here. And now this is my browser that is going to be completely silent. And you can create all sorts of ones. You just click add a profile, select a color, give it a name, and then you can kind of choose between these specific ones. Like for instance, Rogue is one where every single time you close the browser, it automatically wipes everything clean, clearing all sorts of browsing data as soon as you close the browser. So there's a lot of customizability here and a lot of flexibility here. Now, this is just one of many OperaGX features. One of the coolest ones here is in the GX control is the hot tabs killer. You know, I am one that notoriously just lets the tabs pile up. I've got a ton of tabs open at any given time. You can actually sort them by what's using the most CPU, what's using the most RAM, and then just close the ones that don't need to be there. There's an insane amount of awesome stuff over here on the sidebar. One is the player, where I can log into Spotify or Apple Music or any number of different like music streaming services. You can use multiple music streaming services at once, but I can log right into my Spotify, be right here, play music, put that aside. And what's really cool about the GX player is that if I then go to a tab that starts playing audio, it will automatically mute the player, the Spotify or whatever I'm using. And then when I close that tab, it's going to automatically resume my music. So it's all of this functionality built right in. It all just makes sense and kind of makes the flow of using your computer even that much better. And if you're thinking about getting OperaGX, they make it incredibly simple to make your experience as seamless as possible. You can go to settings, scroll down to synchronization, and actually import any bookmarks or settings or cookies or passwords or browsing histories or anything from the browser that you currently use. So if you're thinking about making the switch, they make it as easy as possible. So go ahead and download OperaGX, available on desktop and on mobile. You can use the pinned comment or the link in the description. Huge shout out to OperaGX for sponsoring this video. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. So like we said earlier, for the best results, this is really going to come down to what you're most comfortable with. I've been preaching that for a long time. Even though the numbers of, say, this ammo might be better or this gun might be better, if you feel better with a particular type of gun, use that gun. I'm a full auto Andy. I mag dump people. So early on, will an SKS with PS or an RFB that I found with like M80 or something be better than 9mm PST? Absolutely. But I'm not as good with semi-auto weapons. I hate the iron sights on the SKS. So I'll always pick like a PP19 or an MP5, and my survival rate will increase because of that. So go through all these recommendations, find the type of weapon that you like to use. And if you can get your hands on those, use that and you'll definitely do better. Now, that being said, we'll go through each type of weapon and talk about the ones that I like to use and the ones that I think that are the best. Some of these barters might change, or the prices of things might change. They change a lot of stuff with the wipe. By and large, I think all of this information is going to be pretty much exactly the same, but just know some of these things might change. But we'll go ahead and start off, and we'll start by talking about SMGs. I can't show too much because the pre-wipe event that's happening right now is that all the traders are barter only, so I can't see actual prices of things. But the two that you'll see the most often are the PP19, or the two I recommend the most. So the PP19 and the MP5 for 9mm. They are both functionally just really early ways to get your hands on something full auto, and SMGs tend to have not as much recoil. I mean, like a stock here is 50 recoil. These numbers are kind of meaningless now. Full auto early on, day one, I like to go for this. So the PP19, you can purchase this for rubles at level 2 proper, but you can barter for it for only 4 T-plugs. These are all over the place, filing cabinets everywhere. So really early, easy way to get your hands on it. No real modularity here, just iron sights, just get some ammo, and boom, you're ready to go. The other one is going to be the MP5. You're probably going to see a lot of these. Some USECs, I think, start with a few in their stash, but similar 9mm. You know, they don't hit very hard, but 30 round mag and full auto. The MP5 is same thing, purchasable from Peacekeeper level 2, but you can barter for it with the 8 of these like scav knives. You can find these on scavs all over the place. Once again, easy to get. There is a little bit of modularity here. You can get a mount for a red dot. I believe the mount is from Peacekeeper level 1 as well, unless they move that. So they do sell out quickly though. So if you can get hands on a mount and you can find a red dot in raid or something like that, that makes this a little bit better. But iron sights, full auto, you're ready to go. 9mm doesn't hit very hard, but you can get full auto quickly with the PP19 or with the MP5. Another like super underrated one is going to be like the Ketters or the Clins. You can find these on scavs. You can also purchase this straight up from proper level 1. I do know that. Right now we can't see it because of the barter only event, but you can also barter for them like 2 MP133s. But these are cheap. These are a really fast fire rate, 1,000 RPM. They shoot really, really fast. Doesn't matter what these numbers here are. The perceived recoil of these things are very, very low. You can get 20 round mags, 30 round mags for this thing. It uses the same ammo as like the Makarov, I think. It's not great ammo. However, it has, once again, early wipe. People aren't very armored. People are rarely going to have face shields. They're not going to have helmets half the time. So anything, get some rounds that have decent flesh damage. 1,000 RPM. That's the hero of this gun, is it just shoots fast. So if you're close and you get a bunch of bullets on someone's legs or arms or face, even if they're armored, you're going to drop them very, very quickly. So this is a very cheap way to get some full auto. It's not going to hit very hard, but you can absolutely drop people with one of these. And then the final and probably the best gun in the SMG category is going to be the UMP. This thing absolutely shreds. It shoots slow, which actually kind of helps with the perceived recoil of the gun. And the ammo for this stuff is nuts. I think you can get the second best ammo overall at Peacekeeper level 1. So if you can find one of these things, if you can barter for them, you basically have the second best ammo for this gun on day 1. This thing is insane, very, very effective at killing people, armored, unarmored, no matter what. This thing kind of dominated last wipe. You can barter for these at level 1 Peacekeeper for 7 of the alternate kind of like scav knife. Once again, you can find these all over the place, collect them. You can also barter for one of these things at mechanic level 1, and that is 1 DVD, 1 hard drive, and 2 capacitors, a few computers, and you have this as well. And then you can purchase it at Peacekeeper level 2. The UMP is the king of the SMGs. It's basically ready to go for anything, ready to go for an optic, ready to go for a foregrip, ready to go for a flashlight. You can put a suppressor on it eventually if you find one. So UMP is the king. You can get this via barters at level 1, get to Peacekeeper level 2, and then you can buy these. These are really, really good. Moving over to like the more rifle style weapons, one of the most quintessential and classic guns that you can use on day 1 of the wipe is the SKS. Now I can't see it here because we can't purchase it, but you can purchase the SKS from proper level 1 and I believe Jaeger level 1 as well. Now with Jaeger, there might be a change that they made. It used to be that you had to get to level 2, get a quest from mechanic, do that quest, and then you had access to Jaeger level 1. I've heard rumors from people who have reset their account that Jaeger level 1 is accessible on day 1 of the wipe, but you will need to get to level 2, do that mechanic quest to get access to Jaeger's quests. So I'm not sure about that. Either way, Jaeger level 1 should definitely be accessible on day 1 of the wipe because you only need to get to level 2. But you might be able to get some of the stuff from him even earlier. But the SKS is the classic, very, very hard hitting. 7.62 is a very good round. 7.62 PS is, which once again is one of the, it's like the second or third best 7.62 round, is accessible on day 1 of the wipe as well. So the SKS 10 rounder semi-auto shoots a really, really good round. I think it's got like 30 pen. So basically shoot anything you see in the face on day 1 with an SKS and it's going to die with PS. So the SKS is great. Right in line with the SKS, really any AK that you can get your hands on is going to be very good. There's lots of barters for 5.45 AKs, 7.62 AKs. So you find 3 Tashanka, you can get an AKM, and now you've got something that's full auto that shoots that 7.62 PS. Really, really good weapon. Obviously not a whole lot of modularity on day 1, but AKs are everywhere on scavs, on bosses, all over the place. You can find them in the world. 5.45 or 5.56. There's decent ammo available day 1. They're big rifles. As you find attachments, they can kind of become a little bit more modular. So be on the lookout for those. Obviously, you can find those day 1 of the wipe because they're all over Tarkov. Now, a rifle that's often very, very, very overlooked is going to be the VPO 209. So this is the 366 TKM caliber. This is often regarded as a meme, but this thing is actually insane. So it's semi-auto, but it can hold 30 round magazines. The second best ammo for this, which I believe does 73 damage, is purchasable at level 1 Jaeger. So the EKO rounds, 73 damage and 30 pen at level 1 Jaeger semi-auto. Now you can find these on scavs. You can purchase them on skier level 1 after completing a quest called Stirrup. That might take you a while. You can purchase them at Jaeger level 1 once you get him unlocked, if he requires to be unlocked. And you can barter for it here with 2 busted ones. You can find these on scavs all the time, even ones with like without butt stocks or something like that. Bring them in. You can trade them for a fresh one. This is a sleeper. Once again, the modularity is there if you can replace the dust cover and then put an optic on it or something. But even with the iron sights, 73 damage is insane. 2 tapping people in the thorax, 1 tapping them in the head, and at 30 pen, day 1 wipe armors, you're going to do really, really well. So this is very slept on, very affordable. Great little semi-auto rifle that you can pick up. And then the last one I'll mention that I'll have to pull up on the flea market to show because there aren't any barters for it, but is the Vepr Hunter. Now, the Vepr Hunter is not purchasable at level 1 from any of the traders. You have to get Jaeger to level 2. However, you can find these all over the place. The durability is going to be low, obviously, but you can find scavs with them. Sometimes you can find like sniper scavs or scavs with that actually have optics. It's got the dovetail mount, so any dovetail optic that you can find or dovetail mount for another optic will slap right on there. And this shoots a big round, 7.62 by 51. So if you can find M80 or any loose like M62 in a magazine or anything like that, this shoots the big boy rounds. Obviously, the caliber of 7.62 by 51 hits very, very hard and is really good to get your hands on as early as possible. So a Vepr Hunter, I personally do not like these. I hate the iron sights. I hate the kind of dovetail mounted sights, but these are really, really powerful guns. You can find them all over the place. Once you get to level 15, you can buy them off the flea market. Once you get to Jaeger level 2, you can purchase them, but this is a good day 1 wipe gun, absolutely. Next type of weapon we'll talk about is the shotguns. Now, shotguns are incredibly, incredibly powerful early wipe. You got all these pellets. They do a ton of damage. Once again, you're rarely going to find people with face shields. You can absolutely wreck people's arms, legs, black legs, limbs, do all the bonus damage to limbs. Shotguns are insanely powerful early wipe. Now, the best one, the semi-auto one, the MP153, is purchasable at Jaeger level 2. There are some barters available too at Jaeger level 1 for 2 wrenches and 2 screwdrivers. Once again, finally, cabinets look everywhere. You can find these. Literally every other scav has an MP153. You can find MP153s, and you can also find the MP133s, which is the pump action version. You can purchase the pump action shotgun at level 1 Jaeger. And once again, some of the best ammunition when it comes to flesh damage, not necessarily armor pen, but some of the best ammunition when it comes to flesh damage is purchasable at level 1. I think Express Buckshot is like the 2nd or 3rd best for flesh, and you can buy it at level 1 Jaeger. So shotguns, tons of flesh damage, 2 taps to the stomach, 1 or 2 to the legs or head, and you're absolutely annihilating just about anyone, including bosses and stuff like that too. So shotguns are very powerful. The 153 is semi-automatic, boom, boom, boom. The 133, which you can also find and purchase, is pump action, so it takes a little bit longer, but still very effective. And then the newer one, the MP155, which is semi-auto as well, you can purchase at level 2. All of those you can find all over the place, and they don't jam quite as frequently because you're not shooting them in like full auto, obviously. So the lower durability doesn't matter quite as much. But the shotguns are absolutely devastating. The ammo is devastating. Really underrated early wipe, so definitely give them a go. And then the other thing with the shotguns is the double barrel. This thing is ridiculous. You can purchase it at Jaeger level 1. It is 8,000 rubles, or at least it was 8,000 rubles, and you can load, 2 rounds of whatever shotgun ammo you have and just absolutely annihilate people. The drawback is obvious. You only have 2 shots. You have to reload after that. However, it is a devastating weapon, close range. You shoot both rounds at the same time, so you get some of that express buckshot, and you can absolutely one-tap people to the stomach, to the head. It's devastating. Very, very cheap. I'm not good with them because I'm not very accurate, and I end up having to reload too often, but the double barrel, you can't talk about shotguns without talking about the double barrel. And then the last kind of main big type of weapon is going to be sniper rifles, and there's not a whole lot available to you on wipe day. There's like a really big barter for a Mosin 8 batteries, 5D batteries. These are definitely a little bit harder to find. That's not going to be as common, but if you find all those things, you get a scoped Mosin, which is huge, and the ammunition it shoots, 7.62 by 54R, hits really, really hard. LPS, even on day 1, hits really, really hard. But you can purchase the Mosin infantry with just iron sights, which is just like a slightly smaller version of the Mosin, at proper on level 1. So you can straight up purchase that. It's not going to have an optic, and all of the mounts you need to get the optics won't come till later either. But if you're proficient with iron sights, once again, very devastating caliber, very devastating round. The Mosin is there for you. You can also get the sniper rifle variant of that 3.66 TKM round. that we were talking about using the VPO. You can get that level 1 purchasable from Jaeger. That's a little bit better because I think it's a little bit easier to mount optics or sights onto that. You can even put a red dot on there. The thing is that those rounds often tend to move a little bit slower, so it's a little bit harder to hit targets at longer range if you're sniping. But if you're just looking for something that's cheap, bolt action, has a lot of flesh damage, can hit pretty hard, the VPO 215 is a decent option as well. And then the other one is going to be the SV98. The SV98 is definitely harder to get. You can't purchase it until proper level 3, so that's going to take some time. But I included it on the list because you can find these out in the world. I've found them just like up against stuff or in the like openable weapon crates on Shoreline or something like that. And you can find sniper scavs that have them. So especially since they're bolt action, the durability isn't going to matter as much. You're not firing as many rounds. And the SV98 is a little bit easier to put a optic on because it's got that rail up top basically ready to go. So if you can find yourself a long range optic, if you can find yourself an SV98, you're kind of just boom, good to go. You can get, once again, LPS even on day 1. Very, very good round. So there's not a whole lot of options on day 1 for snipers, but the Mo's and the VPO and the SV98 are your kind of go-tos. So that's about it. That's kind of like my recommendations at each tier there. Kind of honorable mention is going to be the RFB. The RFB is not purchasable for quite a while from Peacekeeper. However, if you can find one in a stash or something, another gun that shoots that 308 big boy caliber, if you can find an RFB, that's a really good early gun weapon. And then, of course, on top of that, there's going to be a lot of ways to get better gear with the rogues on Lighthouse, farming them, any of the scav bosses. If you're lucky, you can end day 1 with an M1A or a SCAR or M4s with 60-round mags, AKs with good ammo, all sorts of stuff like that, of course, with the bosses. But I wanted to talk about like what you can get reliably all day long from the traders, and that kind of breakdown is there. I didn't even talk about pistols because pistols, in my opinion, there's really no reason to use a pistol unless you have like 20 rubles to your name. There's no really reason to use a pistol when all of those other guns exist. However, if that's your thing, absolutely go for it. But let me know if I missed anything. What is your favorite kind of like budget or early game gun to use in Escape from Tarkov? I really, really hope this helped and gave you kind of like a good footing for day 1 of the wipe. Once again, find guns you're comfortable with, use those when you can, but also don't be afraid to kind of like expand out and use the best thing that you have available. If you liked the video and you think it helped, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more Tarkov content like this. That really, really helps me out. I also stream Escape from Tarkov 6 days a week over on Twitch. All those links will be down below. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with on wipe day or anything like that, we've got a Discord server with 15,000 members, a Sherpa system, looking for group channels for different parts of the world. It's a great place to be. Check that link down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.